Silence or stand. All persons having any business before this honourable court now draw nigh and give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Queen.
Admission of lawyers. Kim Huang Aziz.
May it please the court, I move that my wife, Kim Huang Aziz, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kim Huang Aziz be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sabrina Buyan.
May it please the court, I move that Sabrina Boyan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sabrina Buyan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alice Tegan Brennan.
May it please the court, I move that Alice Tegan Brennan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Alice Tegan Brennan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Courtney Leah Brown.
May it please the court, I move that Courtney Leah Brown be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Courtney Leah Brown be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Romola Durham Davenport.
May it please the court, I move that Ronald Durham Davenport be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Romola Darren Davenport be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Shauna Delphine Diaz.
May it please the court, I move that Shauna Delphine Diaz be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Shauna Delphine Diaz be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Madeline Rose Elliott.
May it please the court, I move that Madeline Rose Elliott be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Madeline Rose Elliott be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Emma Ann Galea.
May it please the court, I move that Emma Ann Galea be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Emma Ann de Glia be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jasmine Haddad.
May it please the court, I move that Jasmine Haddad be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jasmine Haddad be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Mia Alexandra Herman.
May it please the court, I move that Mia Alexandra Herman be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Mary Alexandra Herman be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Michael Frederick Hoyle.
May it please the court, I move that Michael Frederick Hoyle be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Michael Frederick Hoyle be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sarah Clementine Rose MacDonald.
May it please the court, I move that Sarah Clementine Rose MacDonald be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sarah Clementine Rose MacDonald be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Matthew William Miles.
May it please the court, I move that Matthew William Miles be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Matthew William Miles be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Tanaya Naidu.
May it please the court, I move that Thanaya Naidu be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Hidayah Naidu be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Bridget Married Nelms.
May it please the court, I move that my goddaughter and niece, Bridget Moray Nelms, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Bridget Moray Nelms be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Christina Margaret Sutherland O'Brien.
May it please the court, I move that Christina Margaret Sutherland O'Brien be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Christina Margaret Sutherland O'Brien be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Lauren Nicole O'Sullivan.
May it please the court, I move that my daughter, Lauren O'Sullivan, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Lauren O'Sullivan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Chi Heon Rowe.
May it please the court, I move that Chi Hyun Roh be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Shi Shon Rowe be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Shreya Segal.
May it please the court, I move that Shreya Sehgal be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Shreya Segal be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Zoe Madeline Segala.
May it please the court, I move that Zoe Madeline Segala be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Zoe Madeline Segala be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Cara Jane Simpson.
May it please the court, I move that Cara Jane Simpson be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Cara Jane Simpson be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Catherine Suzanne Spasich.
May it please the court, I move that Catherine Suzanne Spasich be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Catherine Suzanne Spasich be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Dai-Cheng Swen.
May it please the court, I move that Cheng Sun be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Cheng Sun be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Marielle Rufina Tan.
May it please the court, I move that Mariel Rufina Tan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Marielle Rufina Tan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kathy Tran.
May it please the court, I move that Kathy Tran be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kathy Tran be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Adriana Tasunis.
May it please the court, I move that Adriana Tasunis be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Adriana Tasunis be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Heather Suzanne Willis.
Let Heather Suzanne Willis be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
George John Johanna.
May it please the court, I move that George John Johanna be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let George John Johanna be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Lisa Isabel Young.
May it please the court, I move that Lisa Isabel Young be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Lisa Isabel Young be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Holly Yi Ming Zhu.
Let Holly Yeming Zhu be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Ramona Zugabe.
May it please the court, I move that Ramona Zugabe be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Ramona Zugabe be admitted as a lawyer of this court. It will be necessary for the purpose of an oath or affirmation that all those being admitted today stand up, but please remain in your current places. Could all admittees please stand?
Kim Huang Aziz. Sabrina Buyan. Alice Tegan Brennan. Courtney Lee Brown. Romola Durham Davenport. Shauna Delphine Diaz. Madeline Rose Elliott. Emma Ann Galea. Jasmine Haddad. Mia Alexandra Herman. Michael Frederick Hoyle. Sarah Clementine Rose MacDonald. Matthew William Miles. Tanaya Naidu. Bridget Murray Nelms. Christina Margaret Sutherland O'Brien. Lauren Nicole O'Sullivan. Chi Hyun Rowe. Shreya Segal. Zoe Madeline Segala. Cara Jane Simpson. Catherine Suzanne Spasich. Decheng Swen. Mario Rufina Tan. Kathy Tran. Adriana Tasunis. Heather Suzanne Willis. George John Johanna. Lisa Isabel Young. Holly Yi Ming Zhu. Ramona Zugabe. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill and ability? Would you please say, "So help me God," or "I do"?
Please be seated. Now that the formal part of the proceedings has ended, I'd like to warmly welcome you to the Supreme Court of New South Wales. Present with me on the bench today is Justice Ward, who is the Chief Judge of the Equity Division, Justice Brereton, who is a member of the Court of Appeal, Justices Adamson and Adams, who are members of the Common Law Division of the Court, and Justice Robb, who is a member of the Equity Division. Together we constitute the court that has, in the exercise of its jurisdiction, admitted you to practice. As we gather here today, I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. We recognise the long-standing and enduring customs and traditions of Australia's First Nations and acknowledge with deep regret the role our legal system has had in perpetrating many injustices against Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. To all the new lawyers here today, welcome to the legal profession. Today is a day for celebration. You have all worked extremely hard to get here, through caffeine-fuelled nights and obscure problem questions, reading countless wafer-thin pages of textbooks and more cases than you can ever hope or ever will remember. Rest assured, for those of you with a bibliophobia, that is the fear of running out of reading material, that as lawyers, that will never happen. You have entered the world of eggshell skulls, encountered the mysterious reasonable person, and have understood the Constitution means quite a bit more than just the vibe of the thing. In becoming a lawyer, you have today joined a centuries-old profession with ancient origins. The custom of advocates swearing an admissions oath dates back to the 12th century. This court first admitted lawyers to practice in 1824, and by 1830, the names of lawyers were entered onto rolls in this state. You have now become part of this tradition almost 200 years later. Perhaps for some of you, or more probably for your family and friends, that feels how long you've been studying. On that note, I'm pleased to welcome those with you today or watching on the live stream. For many of you, the support of your family and friends will have been no doubt invaluable. They no doubt have also been on the receiving end, from time to time, of your finely polished skills of argument and persuasion. I do hope you take the time to thank them today. The oath or affirmation you have made today is a serious one and deserves solemn regard. Whether you work in private practice, at the bar, in a community legal centre, or an entirely different field, you should be known for your honesty, your integrity, and your commitment to justice. It is in acknowledgement of this weighty responsibility that we observe today's unique formalities, including the moving of lawyers, swearing of oaths, and even our somewhat unusual choice of fashion. I recall on one occasion some years ago, a young member of the audience asked if we were doing Santa photos after the ceremony. Regrettably, we were not. However, although we mark this occasion with formality and tradition, not everything in the legal profession remains unchanging. You'll be unsurprised to hear that over the past 2 years we had to adapt quite a bit. COVID-19 meant a rapid shift to increased use of virtual courtroom technology and setups to ensure that access to justice continued in the midst of a pandemic. Now, things didn't always go smoothly, as those with me on the bench can undoubtedly attest to. There have been real difficulties to grapple with in terms of open justice, effective communication, and fairness to participants. And from time to time, a lawyer got stuck behind a Zoom kitten filter. But for all the challenges we faced, the impetus is greater than ever before for us to prioritise flexibility and accessibility. Better use of technology and increased working from home arrangements have profound implications for how our legal system interacts with many people, including those in rural or remote areas, those with a disability, medical conditions, or carers' responsibilities. As the newest members of the profession, you are at the forefront of innovation in the law and have a unique opportunity to see through changes so that justice is done openly and equitably. There are, of course, other changes that deserve attention. When we think of the diversity of the legal profession, we encounter the duality that we have come very far, but much still needs to be done. Though women were originally not permitted to practice, since 2018, women have made up more than half of all solicitors with a practising certificate in this state and make up 63% of solicitors under the age of 30. Women occupy many of the most senior positions in the law, including, of course, the Chief Justice of Australia. However, women still continue to face challenges of representation, including amongst judges of this court and, for example, amongst barristers in speaking roles in the High Court. On the other hand, it is heartening to see that the local court of New South Wales has almost achieved gender parity amongst magistrates, but we must not be complacent about these issues. There are other noticeable diversity concerns that we must face head-on. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and people from diverse cultural backgrounds continue to be alarmingly underrepresented in the legal profession, and particularly within the judiciary and the ranks of senior counsel. We must also be alert to barriers to the profession for people from less privileged backgrounds. Law should not be a profession for the wealthy, and the idea that students may be dissuaded from studying law by the cost of a law degree, which this year again increased, or because of other systemic issues, is troubling. Not just this, but we'll only achieve a truly diverse profession when barriers to advancement are broken down and people from different backgrounds are properly supported in a collegiate and inclusive environment free from harassment and discrimination. These issues are fundamental to a just and transparent legal system and to the legitimacy of the rule of law. We need diverse representation amongst advocates and judges so that all people who become involved in our justice system can be properly heard and fairly engaged with by a system reflective of our broader community. Despite these challenges, there is real scope for change. There is far greater diversity of background amongst junior lawyers than those who have been around for as long as me. And you only need to look around this courtroom and then at the paintings on the wall to see that that's undoubtedly the case. You are in a unique position as new lawyers who are entering the profession at a time when more than ever your words and actions are having an impact for good. You're being heard and taken seriously when you agitate to correct injustices, whether it be speaking out about unsustainable working cultures, sexual harassment or bullying within the profession, unfair laws or systemic failings affecting our society's most vulnerable. I urge you to continue to speak up for these things. They do matter. You are the future of the profession and will steer the direction it will take. As a lawyer, you will also need to make difficult ethical decisions at times. With regards to our personal characteristics, lawyers have been the butt of jokes for centuries. Some would say there are only only a handful of lawyer jokes. The rest are true stories. But jokes aside, you must use the tools you have developed to think critically and not compromise on your fundamental duties to the court and the administration of justice and other ethical duties you must uphold. Now that you are lawyers, you can get paid to argue instead of just arguing for free. Of course, there is a lot more to it than that. You're an advisor, a problem solver, a mediator, and an advocate for the marginalised. As you go about your day-to-day work, remember that you're not merely dealing with the law in a vacuum, but law as it applies to people's lives. For this reason, you must strive to deliver legal services competently and fearlessly, with courtesy and integrity. Justice Gageler, before he was a High Court judge, once said, "You must be prepared to give the same answer to the same question for the same reasons, no matter who asks the question or for what purpose or in what context the asking may occur." That is foundational to the rule of law. For those of you who will practice law, the way you communicate information to others will have profound consequences for access to justice. For a non-lawyer, law is often incomprehensible. One of your roles as a lawyer will be to make law accessible to others, sometimes by deciphering legal complexities, other times by deciphering poor legal drafting, and sometimes both. One thing you will regrettably strike throughout your legal career is legislation which seems carefully designed with the sole object of ensuring that no one can possibly understand it. Your task is not just to understand it, but to explain it clearly to those whose rights and interests are affected by it. As lawyers, we must not keep the law locked up as something knowable only to us. A client reading your advice should be empowered to understand your meaning and not mystified and confused. So be clear and concise in your writing and your speaking. Plain English is powerful. Consider, do I really need to split that infinitive to say aforementioned or herewith? Must I sprinkle in that Latin phrase? Should I really use double negatives, tautologies and wordy clauses that take up a whole page? The answer to those questions is self-evidently no. The best advocates make their points simply and succinctly. Now, some of the most experienced lawyers and judges from time to time could use that reminder, but if you see yourself lapsing into their bad habits, the best I could advise you to do is to get out your red pen and cut all those expressions out. I also want to speak about failure. I would not be surprised if there are quite a few overachievers and perfectionists in the room today. Even so, at various points of your career, you will make mistakes, some minor, some more serious. When you do make mistakes, your commitment to honesty, integrity and the administration of justice means that you must take responsibility, correct what you can and learn from those errors. You must fail at times in order to grow. What is important is that you try not to make the same mistake twice. I myself have made many mistakes over the years, too many to remember, although I must say my colleagues from time to time take delight in reminding me of them. But even as Chief Justice, my decisions have on occasion been successfully appealed to the High Court. When that happens, all I do is grit my teeth and remind myself that it's not a legal fiction that the High Court is, or at least a majority of them, is infallible. But in fact, at times, even dissenting judgments become the law. Finally, I want to emphasise that your mental health is extremely important. This may sound unexpected at this type of ceremony, but the law is not everything. There may be times when you feel overwhelmed, burnt out or distressed. If you do, You should not be afraid to seek professional help or to take a step back when you need to. Also remember that the law is a collegiate profession, and in times of difficulty, the support of your peers will prove invaluable. I found that out throughout my career. Although you might find it hard to believe, I was admitted quite a long time ago. I lost my first case, and I lost many more after that. But throughout my 35 years in practice, I could always count on the other barristers in my chambers to share my disappointment at the unfairness of the verdict, the sly tactics of opposing counsel, and most often, I regret to say, the obtuseness of the judge or judges before whom I was appearing. I hate to add, I don't include any of my fellow judges on the bench in that comment. On behalf of all the judges of the Supreme Court, and particularly those sitting with me today, I once again congratulate you on your admission and welcome you to the legal profession. The court will now adjourn.